Hi guys. It's our first lunch and learn on Tuesday. I'm messing around with times and stuff like that to see. I'm just trying to get prepared because I'm usually in my office, but I'm not obviously today because I have a house full of dogs. And look, you guys get a little treat. This is one of them. Oh, that's so cute. I'm so lucky, aren't I? This is Wonton. Patty, I see you just jumped on. Chief just missed Wonton by like a day. Look at this whole like pound of dog right here. Wonton actually has a brother here as well. They're litter mates, which is actually, yeah, let me just give you guys an aside to this. Talking about kind of like summer safety. I know a lot of you guys are like going on vacations and stuff like that. So I just want to put it out there that it totally matters where you board your dog. So my clients just have the okay to board. I only board clients' dogs. And can you just handle this? And the name Wonton, it really gets you, huh? It really suits you. So where you board your dog really matters if you guys are going on vacation. So some of the things that you want to think about when you board your dog, like if you're going to have someone come to your house, or are your dogs going to go to their house, or are you going to like do a facility? That's all stuff that you really need to think about. A lot of facilities, there's not many in the area that I recommend around here, because a lot of them are just kind of free-for-alls. And you can come back, your dog can come back with it's like sending your dog to preschool. I mean, they can come back with a lot of other issues that they didn't go there with. Plus, in that free-for-all environment, there's usually high school kids watching them. So just put a little bit of thought, and you might have to pay extra for, like, boarding with me is not cheap. But that's because your dog's staying with the trainer, and I'm a, peer safety guard. So like I'm looking at your dog's poop every time it poops, kind of thing. So just put a little bit of extra thought before you go on vacation as to where you're going to board your dog, because it's super important. A lot of dogs are not equipped to handle that free-for-all environment with no rules, no regulations, no anything. And most importantly, no downtime. There's a big bug over there. I hope it doesn't fly over here. The bugs in Florida are humongous. So yeah, just put a little bit of extra thought. You might have to spend a little bit of extra money, like I said, but make sure that the person that you're hiring to board your dogs are going to keep your dog safe, and they are going to pay attention to your dog's poop, because that's the barometer of health. That like I was saying, the most important thing that a lot of like boarding facilities will miss is downtime. Like dogs actually need a lot of downtime. So making sure they get it. It's hot out here, huh, one time. So that being said, I'll move on to the summer safety that I was going to talk about actually today. So summer can be very dangerous on dogs, especially down here in Florida. And to an extent up in Michigan too, because I just know a lot of you guys are from Florida and Michigan and kind of everywhere in between. But it can be very dangerous because I think the biggest mistake I see people make, and there was actually a news story about this. What are you smelling? About a dog that was brought to the beach and died the next day. So, and I also had this experience this weekend when I was out at Caddy's for brunch with my girlfriends. They brought their dog to there was a King Charles Spaniel there at the beach. And I'm just like, it's just so, people don't think about this because they think I'm at the beach, there's water, my dog's just going to be naturally cooler. But it could not be further from the truth, guys. That's why I think I don't know if I can share this right now, but I'm going to share it to my business page as well. Normally these are just reserved for you guys, but I think this is so important that everyone needs this information. So the biggest thing that can happen when you're out and about is overheating. And it happens with dogs very easily. At the end, I'm going to give you it's a built-in barometer of how you can tell if your dog's getting too hot or not. It's oh, that bug isn't there anymore. Oh crap, where'd it go? It's a big freaking bug. Where was I now? See, I got sidetracked by the bug. It gets me every time. But so just because your dog's in or around water does not mean that they're going to naturally just stay cool. The biggest thing that you guys need to be watching out for is, well, actually there's a bunch of things. So the overheating is definitely a big, big deal down here. And actually saltwater toxicity. So they can, like a little bit of salt water is not going to hurt them, but they can they can actually die from drinking too much salt water. If they're getting salt water out of a pool, there's not that much in there, but the salt dehydrates. Like if you're in the ocean, it does the same thing, you know, salt dehydrates. So if they're just like drinking the salt water, they can just kind of keel over and die, unfortunately. So they're going to start, well, you know, so they only have a couple ways to cool down on their own. One is panting. So you'll notice that panting get a lot more rapid and a lot more labored. So that's kind of like your first sign as well. If you think that your dog may be overheating, take a look in their mouth. They're either going to have a really dry mouth, or their gums are going to be like super bright red. And on that note, if you ever think that anything is going on with your dog whatsoever, you can look in their mouths and it'll be a good gauge. So it's called the capillary reflux or capillary refill, something along those lines. So you always have access to it. It's the easiest way to tell if your dog's like having a hard, whatever, if something's going on internally or they're going into shock or something like that, which I'll mention again later. But all dogs have gums. We'll see if Wonton lets me in there. Oh, he's not going to cooperate. He's not going to let me show you. That's okay. I'm not going to force him because we've been doing some play bite correction, so he's a little bit nervous about me getting in his mouth. So their gums, what you're going to do is press on their gums. So when you press, it's going to turn white. And then when you take off, the redness should come back within a couple of seconds. If that's staying white, then there's something going on. You need to like emergency vet them right away if that doesn't fill back up. So it's just a press on their gums. So see with me. And you'll see it. You can try it right now. It'll turn white where you press, and then when you let go, the red will fill right back in. So it's good to know where your dog's baseline is so that you'll know if something's wrong, basically. So the gums are a big telltale. They'll also get like this really thick drool. So it's not like just your regular kind of like drooly, like Rufus is a drooly magooly. He drools when he gets hot. But if he's starting to overheat, it's going to get really thick. So that's another sign that you need to be looking for. Also, they could start to throw up, and that could be just clear stuff, like water mucusy kind of stuff. You know, it could be their food. It could be like whatever they're throwing up. That's a sign to you that, assuming that they're not already sick, that there might be something going on. They'll also get diarrhea, which is one of the telltale signs of the water toxicity. Body can't handle that much salt. And it can even happen like in a chlorine pool, you know. So diarrhea is a big one. They'll also just start to get almost like, no bites. That's better. See, you guys get to see a live play bite correction. Live. That's your freebie. They'll almost get like a little bit unsteady, a little wobbly, or their legs will go out more than they normally would stand. They'll look like they're kind of like straddling something almost. And that's just because they're trying to keep themselves steady because stuff's starting to go awry in their body. They can also have seizures. I mean, those are like, hopefully it never even gets to that. But Those are some of the signs that their body might be shutting down, whether it's due to overheating or whether it's due to water toxicity. It doesn't matter. Like those, if they get into like that wobbly state or that just kind of like daze, like, you know, they're kind of like, they look like they're just like staring off into the distance, that's huge red flag. Like you need to do something ASAP. Hopefully you just don't even get there now that you're getting this information. You won't even get there to where you need to go. Is my dog overheating or has it drank too much water? Like I said, a little bit of water, a little bit of salt water is fine. But I've seen dogs at the beach like just lapping that shit up, and it's like that dog's going to have a lot of problems when it gets home, mainly diarrhea, which is not fun. Hopefully you make it home by then. But what's happening is they're getting dehydrated, so their body's reacting just like it would if they were overly dehydrated. So even if you're at the beach, you need to bring tons of fresh water and always be offering it to them. Always, always. Try to correct the ocean water drinking. However you can. You might even have to put your dog on a leash or just leave, because that could be a huge problem. Huge problem. So those are the telltale signs that your dog might need some assistance in aisle 1 with that. Now, if your dog has gotten there, what you need to do about it, you need to take action right away. So depending on the severity of what you're looking at, a lot of people's instinct is to cool them down as soon as they can. So they'll give them like ice water or something like that. And that's the exact opposite of what you need to do. The ice water or like putting them in a bath or something like that with really cold water is what's going to put your dog in shock. Once again, you can check that capillary refill just to see what's going on. But like that's because it makes total sense, right? Like your dog needs to cool down. Let's give them the coolest thing possible, ice. But that will like send them into shock so quickly. It's the most dangerous to do. And so I would offer like room temperature water, not hot water, but definitely not like really, really cool water either. That's going to get you in trouble. So around room temperature is good. You can also get them wet, cool, because like right now at the beach, the water here is already kind of like bath water. So if you can get like access to like hose water, that's typically a good, as long as it's not like the first couple minutes of the hose, because that's warm as well. But if you can get their chest wet and like their growing area wet and their paws wet, because they actually can cool down through their paws as well. There's little there's still little glands on the bottom of their paws, in the bottom of these little paws. There's still little glands. That's why they can get like worms and stuff stepping on poop that's infected. They can also actually sweat through their paws. So, but you'll want to get them in room temperature. More room temperature than ice cold. That's going to be, sorry guys, let me turn this on. That's going to be the easiest way to cool them down or get them into air conditioning right away. It's going to take them a minute to totally calm down or cool down, but if you shock their system with the ice, that's going to be detrimental. Like that can like, the shock from that can happen super fast. So, and obviously I shouldn't need to tell you, don't leave your dog in the car, obviously. But another kind of hazard that me and Miko went through before actually is, oh, it's starting to rain here, so I hope it doesn't get too loudy, rainy, is walking on hot pavement, and sand can get even hotter than asphalt. So be aware of where your dog is walking. So what I like to do is I touch the ground and see how it is. Now remember, your dog probably has calloused feet if it's an adult dog. If it's a puppy like Wonton, he doesn't have any calluses on his feet. So he should not even touch the hot stuff. Their paws can blister up. You'll see them. It's like it's hot. So yeah, pavement is something that people don't really think about. They're out walking their dog in the middle of the freaking day, and I see it all the time, and I'm like, oh, that poor dog, you know? So walk your dog in the morning or in the evening when it's a little bit cooler outside, because even on a walk, they can overheat, and you can still get the vomiting and the diarrhea out there as well. So, you know, in the summertime, your dog doesn't need that much, as much exercise as he does when it's cool outside, though. So remember that they might eat less and they're going to need less exercise. So don't be surprised if your dog doesn't want to walk a mile with you. A block is fine, as long as they're not, you know, coming in and destroying stuff. So, but I also have, like, my service dogs, I will get them little booties to put on their feet because they're just more exposed to this kind of stuff. So making sure that their feet are protected if you are going to take them out in the middle of the day. But I would highly, highly advise against that anyways. So, but you got to do what you got to do. I know life is life as well. So what else? Also, yeah, even if you're by the pool, even if your dog's by the pool, you know, if your dog's swimming and swimming and swimming, having a life jacket on them is going to be very helpful. It really depends on how much they're in and out and in and out. But if your dog's all hyped up, you know, you never know when they're going to kind of lose steam, and you have to be right there. So I wouldn't leave them unattended by the pool at all, especially if they do like to, you know, go in and out, in and out, in and out, jumping in everywhere. So yeah, life vests are cool. Some dogs need sunscreen. So if you have a dog that has like wonton, like Yorkies have like hair. They don't have like fur, they have hair. So if he was going out like on his parents' boat or something like that, I would say that he would need doggy sunscreen, like on his nose right here. They can get sunburned even through their fur. So a lot of dogs as well, and I think this is something that really contributes to the overheating, like at the beach and even by the pool as well. The dogs that have like that undercoat to them, so it's wet, but it can also, if it's like sunny outside and all that stuff, it can also trap humidity in there. So it's making them hotter. You know, it's meant to keep them cool, but it's also meant to keep them warm. So when you add that moisture into it, sometimes that can be the deciding factor of what goes, kind of what brings them over the threshold, so to speak. So what else did I want to say about this? Oh, I wanted to tell you guys the gauge, the built-in gauge that you should always, always, always be paying attention to kind of see where your dog's at in how hot it is. And that is, drum roll please, that is their tongue. So easy, right? It's built in. So like I said, they cool off by panting. But if you're paying attention to their tongue, what I want you to write this shit down. The longer their tongue is, the more they're trying to cool off. So it's adding to the surface temperature, or the surface area of the tongue helps them cool off. So if their tongue's just out like this, oh, it was out. If it's just normally, and she was just kind of normally panting, or he was just kind of normally panting there, no, like that, that's fine, like that. But if the tongue got really long and then off to the side, I'd be like, okay, let me evaluate the environment and see what needs to change right here. So the tongue is it's like a thermometer. It's like a gauge that is just sitting right there for you to do something or not do something about. So if you see your dog and his tongue is really long, you need to get him in the air. It doesn't necessarily mean there's an emergency at that point, but it's something to be mindful of, whether you need to do something or not do something. You know, and typically if it's really long, you need to do something. That's just kind of like a lower level of awareness that you can have to gauge what's going on. So the tongue gauge, it doesn't lie. So I think that's all I wanted to say about the summer safety. But like after seeing that dog at the beach and then seeing, my cousin told me about an article that she had seen that a dog died the day after going to the beach. And it was probably one of those reasons. The big one being overheating or toxicity, water toxicity. So, all right, guys. Well, I hope that helped you out. And if you have any questions, I will come back later and answer them. So let me know if this was helpful to you. Hopefully it was. And I will talk to you guys later. All right, bye.